Talk about your struggles, because you now have the Darryl Strawberry Recovery Center and your cocaine addiction and the different things. That was widely documented as when you played, but yet since then you've embraced that, have you not?
Well, not only have I embraced that, I mean, I've embraced the call on my life. You know, the last 11 years I married a beautiful girl. Tracy's my wife, and we've been married 7 years, been together 13 years, and we live in St. Louis. And before I even got to the treatment centers, we have our own ministry. You know, strawberryministries.org is our ministry, and we're pastors. You know, my whole life has changed. I've been away from baseball for a long time, and I've been away from sports, period, for a long time, and I've been doing different work in the field of helping people. Our ministry is about restoration. We have a foundation for children with autism. Oglethorpe is a company out of Tampa, Florida, that saw me and my wife ministry page, and they contacted me and said, we saw you guys ministering, and we wanted to know if you wanted to come together with us and build treatment centers. And I said, well, let me think about it. And then a year later, they came back and said, well, we decided we want to build treatment centers in your name. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, we would be interested now, because that's right along what we do. As far as our ministry is helping people restore their lives. And you know, I was a person that had an addiction problem, serious addiction problem. I remember being in treatment, and I remember being told in treatment by a clinical director that I would never make it. You know, he just flat out told me in group I would never make it. And I was taken back on that, because he was like saying athletes and celebrities, you know, they could never make it because they could never get over their lifestyle, and that's not true. You know, I want people to know, and anyone that's suffering with any type of substance abuse problem, you can make it. You're not a mistake. You make mistakes, and people need to know that. And so we came together with Oglethorpe, and here we are today with the first treatment center, the first of 3. We just bought a property in St. Louis of 10 acres and 10 cottages. They're going to do the same thing they did in St. Cloud, Florida, with Darryl Strawberry Recovery Center, and then they want to come to New York City and do one in Long Island.
Straw, let's talk about PEDs. How rampant was that when you played?
It wasn't around as much when I played, but I look at the guys, you know, with the PEDs and the steroids. Steroids are a drug. You know, I don't care what anyone says. You have to understand, people have to understand, a drug is a drug, and once you get addicted to it, you're addicted. Doesn't matter if it's steroids, cocaine, marijuana, alcohol, it's a drug. It alters your mood. It alters something about you. People think steroids are just a drug that makes the guy stronger. Yeah, it might make players stronger or whatever, but it alters them, and they continue to use it. It doesn't matter. I mean, I remember me having a $5 million contract, and you know, I couldn't stop using, and I got suspended. You know, and I lost a portion of that contract because of I couldn't stop using. And it didn't matter because I was successful and had money. I was addicted, and that's what happens to guys that are using steroids.
Darryl Strawberry is with us. So the $64,000 question, now and going forward for the next few years, Clemens, Bonds, all those guys, in your opinion, do they belong in the Hall of Fame?
They belong in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the guys in the Hall of Fame say either. What are we turning to be a bunch of hypocrites now? We played the game. We never done anything. They used drugs back in their days. They can't say they wasn't alcoholics. They can't say they wasn't guys taking greenies, amphetamines, because they were, because it was in the game. You know, in this era and this time of these guys, they had steroids. We had greenies when I played back in the 80s. They had amphetamines and greenies back in the 70s and 60s. So everybody's done something. So let's not be so judgmental of, you know, what's taking place. I think some guys have a lot of regrets because these players today are making so much more money, and I think it's unfair that we just point fingers at them and say they don't deserve. Roger Clemens was a great pitcher. Barry Bonds was a great player. All the rest of those guys were great players. They did the same thing that every other player has done. They were great players. They performed at the level, which is the hardest level to perform at the major league level and be successful.